Good evening. Hello. Is everyone still alive on day X of the apocalypse? Water. Thanks for tuning in. I know that you're skeptical when I say that let's make this a short one. But okay, Paul Swenson, a birthday party. Is it your birthday party? Did I see that it was? No, you just had a birthday recently. Well, happy birthday to whoever, and a watch party. So, Bill, you're the first commenter on YouTube, but Paul Swenson beat you on Facebook. Susan, don't laugh at me, said the comedian. I'm a little lower in the shot. I'm a little tired. We can talk about Brian before he's here. Yeah, you can talk about me. Crap, he's here. And wearing the same shirt. This is not the shirt I wore yesterday. It's the shirt I wore Monday. Wait. What day is it? Thursday. Yeah. I also haven't showered. What are you doing during these days of quarantine, apocalypse? Do you wear different clothes every single day? How weird. Do you, Oh yeah, so hold on. This program is brought to you by Cheese Sticks. Wait, string cheese. For people who like cheese and string theory. I don't know how many more slogans I can come up with. I've had, no, I really do. I was thinking of not doing it tonight because we did 2 or 3 streams worth last night. It just seems silly, but I want to do it, but I don't want to go that long. I've got nothing. So for tonight to be interesting, I'm really depending on you. I need something to play on. I need a little inspiration because I stayed up late. When this was done, just like when I do stand-up comedy, when I'm done doing something like this, I do not feel like, even if it's late, I don't feel like going to sleep for a while. So I was up much later, too late, stupidly, for no reason, and then I slept late, and I had a semi-productive day. But what I was working on, Albert, I'm helping my sister with something, a video, it's video because she's, she was trained as a lawyer and she was a trial lawyer, and then she retired from that and reinvented herself as a mediator and arbitrator. And so if you need mediation in Atlanta, or you're not limited to Atlanta, but Malow mediation and arbitration. And her business is impacted like mine. Her mediations take place in person. So she wanted to make a video to let clients know that she can do mediations via Zoom. So we're working on that, and that's where my head was a lot today. I have a couple things related to the virus, couple virus things, but to some degree I feel like I'm spent from last night. I got nothing new, but if you give me something to play off, like a good improv guy, I'll do it. Ooh, okay, Net Reamer's here too. Okay, let me scroll back. Lots of comments already. Wearing the same shirt. Yes, so I did realize if I'm gonna very regularly do and make it a little, I'm not facing the right direction. If I do want to make this more of a show, like I did in the past, 20 years ago in the past, and if I want to, I realized before you pointed it out, I have a shortage of shirts. But for this, do you, in these days of quarantine, honestly, do you get up every day and shower and put on newly, freshly laundered clothes every day? Do you do that? I don't even do that in days of non-quarantine. I don't know if you're gonna lose respect for me, or maybe even gain respect for me, if I tell you that when I'm on the road, I wear clean clothes quite often. But I do live this solitary quarantine existence even normally. And pants, especially jeans. I am wearing pants, although you never know. When the weather warms up, who knows if I'm wearing pants? No one knows because I'm all alone here. And yeah, jeans you wear many, many times before you wash them. That's crazy. Shirts, it kind of depends. When I lived in San Francisco, you never sweat. So you could wear a shirt and you feel like, well, I didn't even sweat in it. But here in North Carolina, for many months of the year, if you wear a shirt once, it's done. But it hasn't been that hot lately, and I've been inside. I did see the sun today. Did anyone else see the sun? I saw the sun today. It's our local star. And only for the duration of a long business call where I sat on my porch and let the sun. But you know what? I think I was wearing this shirt and long pants and shirt, so I only got sun on my face. Let's see what you got. Albert said you've added an hour each night, so it's 4 hours and 30 minutes tonight. It is not going to be. You unzoomed. A short one, yeah, right. Hello, gang. Hey, Mark Kaplan in Arizona. Netreamer says I take off my dirty, smelly clothes, shower, and put those clothes back on. Exactly. Albert saying hi to Mark. Darla saying hi to Mark. Mark saying hi to Albert. Darla, I put on clean clothes and shower every day. In that order. I put on clean clothes and then I shower every day. But can I ask you, Darla, why? I go days where I don't see people. And if I'm not seeing people, that showering and everything, that's for them. Sometimes I need to wake up and take a shower and to feel alive. But talk about the governor of Georgia. Netreamer says, what was it that I just saw? Oh, is it about... No, wait, that's the governor of... What's the governor of Georgia doing? So another governor... Was it in Texas? Was it in Texas, Albert, that overruled? There's all this stuff about religious freedom. Albert, you posted about it today. Let me catch up on a couple comments, and yeah, let's talk about governors. Let's talk about freedom and religion. Good morning, Albert. Hey, Kimberly. My daughter just got laid off. Silicon Valley startups have laid off 10,000 since March 11th. Yeah. She's with a startup. What is she? Is she an engineer? What does your daughter do, Mark? Susan, I'm up between 7:30 and 9 a.m., take off my sleep shirt, shower, put on my day pajamas, then I make tea and overnight oats and watch In the Heat of the Night. You watch In the Heat of the Night first thing in the morning? Kimberly says, yes, I do. All right, we have standards, Brian. I'm wearing a tuxedo. Well, that doesn't surprise me, Albert. You're a gentleman. You're a fine man, Albert. Darla the Darling says, that's pretty much what I do too, Susan. That is crazy. Mark, get up, work out, shower, so if you work out, you got to take that shower. And when I moved to Raleigh to work at the Science Museum here. I moved from San Francisco to Raleigh. Whoever thought of moving to North Carolina when they were living in San Francisco? Not I. And I was working 5 or 6 days a week, and yeah, I got up and showered every day and went to work. But back in my freelance lifestyle, I shower for gigs and to see people, to have lunch with anything like that. But sometimes there's no need. And this idea of showering and bathing every day is a very modern idea, and it's not about hygiene exactly. And the idea, have you ever heard this about shampooing our hair? It's probably not good to shampoo your hair every day and strip off the healthy oil from the hair. But the idea of of doing that. It's like, it's great business for the shampoo manufacturers. You know, wash, rinse, what is it? Lather, rinse, repeat. Isn't that great? Yeah, repeat. Do it twice every day. Do it every time. You should do it twice and use twice as much of our product. In fact, pour a little of it in your drain too. That was a great product idea for baking soda. It's like, just stick some in your refrigerator. Oh, pour some down your drain. Just throw our product away. Buy it and then throw it away. It's good. It'll make your garbage better, everything. Sprinkle it around outside. Great marketing. So you get up, work out, shower, get dressed every day for work, regardless where you're working from. Okay. Well, sorry. Now you know a little too much about me. Susan's daughter got laid off 2 weeks ago, and it's been nearly impossible to get through to file unemployment. Fortunately, some of us don't have to file for unemployment because we're basically unemployed. You know, as a freelancer, we're just screwed in terms of that. Comfort is necessary, says Susan. Denise, hi, Brian and gang. Hello, Denise. Everybody say hi to Denise. Mark, it makes me get in the work mode mentally. Yeah, it absolutely does help me. I like taking a shower and having some coffee. So I'm not saying, sometimes I do. I didn't today. Allowing the big churches to still gather. Yeah, that's happening in several states. In fact, Albert, did you post an article that's also, it listed what was going on in a bunch of different states? This idea of religious freedom, I think when it conflicts when it threatens the health of other people, just like we don't have the right to yell fire in a movie theater, just like we don't have, if it was, I don't know, come up with some good analogies for me. Whatever. If it's part of my religion involves murdering people, where it conflicts with threatening other people. So this idea, I don't feel like, I would love to speak to an expert in constitutional law to see if it really is unconstitutional to tell them that they can't meet. It's not telling them they can't practice. It's just telling them that right now, gathering in groups is a threat to the health of not just you and your congregation, but literally everyone. It will have an impact on everyone's health. And I don't see why. I want to believe that there's a way around it not being a constitutional issue, right? Philosophy of law. Freedom or freedom, says Bill. The only days I'm allowed to skip a shower is when my migraine is too much for water. Does water, it's not soothing, Susan, it actually bothers? Yeah. Albert says, yes, church is essential even though big gatherings kill people. Yeah. And I mean, some churches switched right over to virtual gatherings. It doesn't mean you can't pray. It doesn't mean you can't do all that stuff and talk to your imaginary friend and all of that. It just this one thing. Yeah, Mark, your Silicon Valley daughter is a programmer. Excellent. Darla, is it true Hobby Lobby is an essential service? Why are they staying open too? Kimberly says she's a sweaty person, so she has to, I have to, or I'd pass. In 2 days, my hair would look wet from oil. Albert, I shower and shampoo daily. Why? Because I'm not a filthy savage. I need a lower third. It's too bad the way this software works. You can't just key a graphic to pop up. What I would have to do, in order for me to do this, what I had to do was create an identical scene that also had this. If you're watching on Facebook or Periscope, thank you. I really appreciate it. But I invite you to come over to the same live stream on YouTube right here at this address. Mirror images are so hard to deal with. Come over to Science Comedian. That's my channel on YouTube. It helps me out, and there's a lot of chatting. So if you're looking around Facebook and going, how come no one else is watching this? It's because all the cool kids went over to YouTube. So come on over to YouTube and say hello. So anyway, yeah, to create this, when I press the button on this little device, in order to get that effect, which should just be keying a graphic to come up, I have to have an identical scene with that graphic. But I am really gonna try out this other software package and see how its functionality might be a little different. I had a business call today. I told you recently that the last gig I had on the books canceled, and it was for Neutrino Day at the Sanford Lab in Lead, South Dakota, near Rapid City. And they still want to have Neutrino Day, and because I suggested that we could still do some virtual stuff and I could interview some of your scientists. So what scientists were ever going to speak, I was going to perform. So it looks like in July, I'm going to do some live streaming stuff for this neutrino lab in an underground former gold mine in South Dakota. But there's going to be a virtual experience. So all the more reason for me to ramp up. I'm going to experiment with that other piece of software that integrates with Skype and see if my laptop is powerful enough for me to handle all the mixing and streaming and a Skype call with one or even two guests. So we're going to start experimenting with that. We all know Albert would never have survived sanity intact 200 years. Kimberly says hi to Denise. Albert said, hey, everyone said hi to Denise. Mark Kaplan, yes, he did. I don't know what that was. Guilty as charged. Yes, Abbott is an idiot. Yeah, there's too many idiots in government, aren't there? You know, people like this topic comes up about we need more scientists to go into politics. But the thing is, like, you're a scientist, you love doing science, and being in politics is probably one of the last places you want to be. Some scientists have done it. Some have gone into politics because they want to serve and they want to have a positive effect on our lives. But I think for a lot of them, it's like, the kind of people, it's self-selecting. The kind of people that want to go into politics. I'm sure some of them have great motivations, but some of them don't. Don't you agree? How is everyone's day? We humor the religious as long as their mythology and rituals do not harm others. Yeah, we just can't have them doing this. And, you know, it will be interesting to see over the next couple weeks if there's a couple more horrible cases of we got together because we thought it would be a good idea, and now half the congregation is sick and a bunch of them are dead. I'll be surprised if we don't start hearing more stories like that really soon. It's only unconstitutional if a court seems it as such. Yeah, unfortunately, our court in recent years, our courts have all skewed towards the conservative and more about protecting religious rights than other basic human rights, at the expense of basic human rights for everyone. Not really true, Albert. We humor the... Which part do you mean isn't true? Their stuff harms people all the time. Oh, yeah, that's what you're saying, that it's worse than... You're saying that Albert's statement was generous. We constitutionally turn a blind eye to it. Susan says the Hobby Lobby owner's wife had some vision that told her that everything would be fine and that they could stay at work, but they would all be fine, that God had it under control. I mean, why is God even inflicting all of this upon us already? He's got a lot of splaining to do, as Ricky Ricardo might have said. Perhaps directly or obviously harmed, Darla, Albert. Have I watched the master class on critical thinking by Neil deGrasse Tyson? No, but the ad for it comes up for me. I see a lot of YouTube videos, and holy crap. It's funny that you would mention that, Mark, because my sister sent me a link to that master class by Neil Tyson today, and I was like, maybe it was yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I've seen that. In fact, I see the ad for it every single day. It pops up like ad targeting, like they know their target audience maybe, but I've seen it conservatively 100 times, and I just wait for that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 skip ad. But I haven't watched the masterclass, no. I've just seen the ad a bunch of times. Darla, the courts tend to err on the side of religion. Darla, err, A-I-R. But the philosophical question is, where is that line between freedom? Where is the harm line? Well, I think we're butting right up against the harm line today, because this is a threat potentially to the health of everyone. Political science was always an oxymoron to Mark Kaplan. You made 2 attempts and misspelled it both times, but we are very forgiving about misspellings and things in these days, because autocorrect can really mess with you. I got so frustrated with autocorrect that I disabled it on my phone for a few months. And I created a lot of shortcuts because I realized that, if you can spell don't, and autocorrect will add the apostrophe for you, so you don't have to go sometimes to another screen or whatever to get it. So what I started doing was I created a whole lot of shortcuts. So if I type D-O-N-T, when I disabled autocorrect, it wouldn't fix anything. So if I created these shortcuts. Anytime I go D-O-N-T, it'll type D-O-N apostrophe T. But I had to do it individually for don't, can't, won't, shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't, hadn't, didn't. And I had to create one for each of those. So each time I came across one, I would create a little thing. So it would add weave, we, apostrophe V-E. And then it just turned out that there were just so many other things that I realized the error of my ways, because it turned out that I made way more mistakes without autocorrect. So autocorrect, in the end, I came back to autocorrect. I came crawling back to autocorrect. Even though it frustrates me to no end. You know what? I don't know if are there any Android phone users out there? Because I'd like to know if it does this too. You know, the iPhone doesn't like the F word. We all know, we've all duck and ducking come out all the time. And I don't know how much you think I'm ducking. I don't know how much you think I'm fucking. Actually, lately I've been ducking more than fucking, so maybe you're right. But clearly, if you look around in life, there's been a lot of fucking going on, because there's 7 billion humans moving up towards 8. Although suddenly this year and next year we may not be making much progress there. But the iPhone will not autofill or autocomplete certain words. And it's a little, I don't know if you've ever typed the word masturbate. So that's M-A-S-T-U-R-B-A-T. 10 letters. And let's say you mess up one. If you type masturbate, M-A-S-T-E-R-B-A-T-E, it will not correct it. Even though it obviously knows what word you're talking about. If you miss one letter in that 10-letter word, it will not even correct it. And I just think that's bullshit. Bullshirt. Albert says, because I didn't tithe enough, Brian. I don't know what that was in reference to, but same here. I saw the ad today. Yeah, the ad keeps popping up constantly. I saw the ad for Masterclass. NetReamer saw it for the first time today. I guess they see that I've been watching too much Science Comedian. I'm in the new target. That's right. You're tainted. You're tainted as if with salmonella or something. You watch the Science Comedian, you get the ads for Neil deGrasse Tyson. Autocorrect is a beach. Bill, you turned autocorrect. I did for months, but I came crawling back because I was making more, because sometimes you can type really sloppy and make a lot of mistakes and it fixes them. So sometimes it's genius, but it's one of those, maybe it's like the absent-minded professor or something, where it's genius sometimes, and then other times it's do-do-do, I don't know what you could be saying, but just quit changing fuck to duck, please, iPhone. So NetReamer, you're probably on an Android phone. You're not on an iPhone, are you? Does it do that same thing, or it does not, like, but fascinatingly, voice to text has no problem with all those words. Voice to text, hang on a sec. Let's just test something real quick. Will voice to text correctly spell masturbate? Yes, of course it does. And it'll say fuck, fucking, fucker. Yeah. So it's pretty funny that this same device, same technology, when you're typing, does not like those letters. But voice to text got all those words right, didn't argue with me. Have you ever wrestled with autocorrect over a word where you're like, you type it, they change it to something else. You change it back, it changes it again. That's very frustrating. And actually, I have a lot of pet peeves about autocorrect, and I have a lot of them written down, and I don't remember them all. But here's one of my biggest pet peeves, is when it changes a word that is spelled correctly into a different word. You know, I understand if I've misspelled something, if I've botched it, and you take your best shot. But if I spell the word F-O-R, and you change it to got, I've had that go both ways. I type F-O-R, he, it's not a woman, he changed it to G-O-T. And you know what? F-O-R was grammatically correct in the sentence, and G-O-T wasn't. I don't understand. If I've spelled a word that is an actual word that's not only grammatically correct, maybe it doesn't understand that. I don't know how smart the AI is. But F-O-R is definitely a word. If I spell a word correctly, give me the benefit of the doubt that that's the damn word I wanted. That's like, maybe you meant got. No, I meant for, F-O-R. And I've had that, I've made a list of instances. When that happens, I record them because, well, you know, what a fool I've been. When my notebooks used to be scattered everywhere, now they're right here. Let's see what it says. I hate when autocorrect corrects or changes a word that is actually a word. I can understand if what I typed is not even a word in the English language, or perhaps in any language, but if what I typed is a word in the English language, then back off, autocorrect. Let's just assume that I didn't make a mistake this time. Let's not jump to too many assumptions or conclusions. You're being a little judgmental for my taste. And that's judgmental without that E in there. There's one E, but not the other one that everyone always mistakenly puts in. Whoa, 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 autocorrect, slow down, buddy. I got this one. It just changed in to on. You know, it's a word. It just changed. More examples. It turned so is into Sonia, a proper noun, a name. And I don't think I had typed any Sonia names. It keeps changing. I have this, I don't know why. Whenever I type maybe, it changes it to capital M-A-Y-N-E, Maine. And it's like, I don't know where that came from. It's on the tip of my tongue, but autocorrect twice tried changing tip to top. It's on the top of my tongue. After the whole sentence was there, I noticed it said top, so I tried to change it to tip, and it stubbornly suggested top again, even in the context of the whole sentence. Here's another one. Autocorrect put up a big fight when I wanted to type paramecia. It thought paramedic? No, and each time I backed up to change it, it changed it again. But once it accepted it, it didn't underline it in red. So like, when it let me type it that way, if it thought it was a word it didn't recognize, it would have been underlined. So when I was done, it didn't underline it. So it's like, oh, so you knew that word all along, paramecia, but you're like paramedic? So what the fuck? By now, you should even know, if you are in fact a smartphone, that paramecia is not even an unusual word for me to type. Paramedic. Is it parental guilt because I didn't become a doctor? So that's some of my autocorrect stuff. I'm sure, of course, I'm looking at another document now. Of course became off course. What's wrong with the phrase of course? These are the really frustrating ones. It won't help you out, won't lend you a hand when it comes to typing masturbate. Even if it's only one letter off, the U is an E, for instance. I wonder what word that could possibly be. Doesn't ring a bell. If you're trying to protect the children, well, first of all, you can't. But second, if the kid or your kid can already spell the word and get 9 out of 10 letters correct, you're too late. That ship has sailed. He's got that word in his grubby little self-loving hand. All you're doing is thwarting or stunting the improvement of his spelling ability. Let us have these words, autocorrect. Oh, let us have these words. And then it says, autocorrect, to the tune of Kirk screaming, Khan, in Wrath of Khan. Autocorrect! Why does my phone want to capitalize everything all of a sudden? Did that happen to you? And damn it, again, changing words that are spelled correctly into other different words, also spelled correctly, but used incorrectly. It's not even grammatically correct. If what I type is a recognizable, common word, just give me the benefit of the doubt that it's the word I wanted or intended. Intended. It's changing in to on, also on to in, got and for. Leave them the fuck alone. And could you make it any harder to type fuck? Come on, voice to text takes it like a bitch. Please don't get offended. I'm just quoting the President of the United States. I learned to talk for the President of the US. If you have a problem with that, please get out and vote. And we're back. Voice to text doesn't have a problem with your foul language. It gives you no grief, no puritanical bullshit, no do-goody-good bullshit. Can you name that musical reference, please? But not typing. With typing, you have to wrestle it back and forth over and over, ducking. Fixed it for you. The D is right next to the F. That's another one. There's some things that it won't correct, even though the mistake you made is one letter next to the correct letter. And it's like it misses some things. I don't understand why it doesn't correct some things where it's like, that one's pretty obvious. And I typed D instead of S. So anyway, yes, just some other ramblings, but I have a lot about autocorrect. Autocorrect, whenever I use the word may, like this may be a problem, it always autocorrects, steps in and capitalizes may. Because of Brian May, there can be only one. But I've trained my autocorrect to, I can't, every time I type the word may, it capitalizes it. I should tell Brian that. All right, let us take a look at the comments because I've been rambling for a while and you people have been typing quite a lot. Let's see what you got to say. Some religious folks, Albert says, consider it an attack on their freedom if they're not allowed to force their beliefs on others. Yeah, I know, like, it is really weird. Like, they really want freedom for themselves, but they really want to impose their way on others. That's a pretty common human thing. Bill says, working blue tonight. Well, it happens. I didn't say that this video was aimed at children. In YouTube now, if a video is intended for children, you're supposed to mark it, and then it has some restrictions on it. Darla says the Corona generation is coming. Netreamer, I gave up on autocorrect and just I cave up on autocorrect and just dictate everything now. I suspect that you crafted that on purpose. Username, schmoozername on Periscope. I get more bills when I'm ducking. That's mother ducking ridiculous. See what I did there? Thanks for watching if you are out there on Periscope, I know if that's just the platform you want to be enjoying, that's fine. But if I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel, and if you come over, I'm Science Comedian, please subscribe. Hey everybody, I'm asking you, whenever you do watch these streams, give it a like. Give me a like. I think that helps me with the algorithms. And I need every little edge I can get. So, has my volume been too loud? It really looks like I'm pegging. Hey, can I ask you something? Oh, I probably didn't add it here. Was there music playing throughout the stream? And is there not music playing right now? Let's fix that real quick. Did that happen? And now, did I just add it back? Anyway, too many threads started there. Most of them are unimportant. Let's go back to the comments. Where's the wine? So I finished off that wine. I do have some red wine, but here's the deal. I know this isn't a huge problem, but I totally live alone and no one's coming to visit except you all. Virtually, but you're not having any of my wine. I could open a new bottle, but I have to finish it myself. I'm not a big drinker, so I haven't been drinking much. Last night I had a little bit of wine because I was finishing off that bottle. And oh sure, depending on how all of this goes, maybe I'll dive hardcore into drinking, but this is just water because I think I was dehydrated. I don't drink enough water during the day. It gets by me. But you know, we're like 75% water. What's another couple cups gonna do? I'm already 75% water. Isn't that crazy? You know, it was a mistake to crawl out of the ocean in the first place. I can damn well assure you that when we were living in the ocean, when that was our safe womb, that we didn't have to consume 8 glasses of water a day. We didn't even have glasses. And one thing though, if you did have a glass of water and you lived in the ocean, you're probably guaranteed to never spill it. These are the bits of wisdom you get from me. But man, crawling out of the ocean, imagine just how parched and of course we're dry, our skin dries out. We used to live in the ocean, we come out here and you have things to deal with like fire. There's something we never dealt with in our evolutionary past, fire. Netreamers on Android, masturbate. Yeah, it doesn't correct it? Get Tim Apple on the phone. Get Tim Apple. That's a Trump reference, right? Didn't he once say Tim Apple? James Thomas, do not have the issue with fuck to duck on my clean Android for autocorrect, as that frustrates me to fight sometimes. Yes, that frustrates me to fight some. Yeah, you got to battle with it. Like, it's so weird sometimes when you correct it. This is one of those, sometimes it's cool and sometimes it isn't. Have you ever noticed when you're typing along that sometimes it spells something, and this works with voice to text and typing, that sometimes you get past a word, and once you get a couple words later, it changes a word back there. It goes, now I know what you're saying. Water down the air hold. The music did not disappear when I pulled up that other shot. There's some very mysterious stuff about the way this software works. Like, I hadn't added it as a source to that scene. And it doesn't play when I play a clip. If I play one of those Steve Vai clips or Alan Stern, the music goes away. Yeah. I'm not monitoring it. You know, sometimes I wear an earpiece so I can hear what's going on, especially if I play a clip. It's good for me to hear what's going on in the clip, and when we can talk about it afterwards, and I know when it's ending. But anyway, why are hot dogs in packs of 10 and buns in packs of 8? Unacceptable. Yeah, that's a classic. Sounds like your NetReamer says it sounds like your relationship with autocorrect is becoming romantic. Is romantic actually the word you meant, or is that an autocorrect? Did you actually mean pedantic or semantic or I don't know, all the other antics? Bill says this autocorrect rant should become a separate video rant. Yeah, that's what I need to do with a lot of these things. And I think I've told you that I have this goal, and some of this I want to do with the green screen and that same piece of music that I've been playing every other stream until tonight. I want to do spontaneous emissions, in which, like, I want to do some prepared stuff, but I want to come riff stuff to you, and maybe even do multiple takes. Also, like the way I ranted about that AOL ad, 1,000 free hours. But yeah, some of these things, thanks for saying that, Bill, because that's my idea, that, like, take some things and rant about them, and then, even with some editing, cut them out. Like, I could find more to say. I shouldn't be reading it off my phone. I gotta, like, think about all the stuff I have and then come on and do them to you. Or I could glance at the phone and then do them to you and then cut it up and make a short video that's that rant. But that is the intention. Right now, I'm just doing too much other video work during the day. But that commitment is short term. I'm going to work on it for another couple weeks. And then we'll see where we are. Denise laughed at something. Bill said probably will become your most watched video. You know, it's not a bad idea. You know, you know what? It's very useful to me if you point stuff out like this. If you see something, if I do something in one of these streams that you think was funny and could maybe even stand alone, or I should elaborate on it and do a standalone, it would be helpful to me if you know how far into the show it is. Show. I use the word loosely. If you could tell me at 45 minutes into tonight's thing you were talking about this and it was actually kind of funny, I might be able to use that information. Because I'll tell you what, I know there's been some good stuff in some of these streams, but they're so long. You people have made these streams so long that how am I ever going to go back over them and find the gems? And another thing is, if I find a gem, I don't want this to be on screen. I don't want when I do it. So really, my other intention is, I have a camcorder there. I could record the show in the best quality on the camera. And then I'm recording in 1920 by 1080. It's recording in like 1280 by 720 or something. What is it? 12? Whatever it is. What I'm getting recorded is actually a little lower resolution. And I kind of figured at the point that I think this is a show, I'm going to also record it there. But then, God, I mean, I know hard drive space is cheap, but 1920 by 1080, the show should only be an hour long, maybe 90 minutes. 2 hours max. The show I did a couple years ago was 2 hours. Maybe what I do live, maybe it's a 1 hour show or something with a lead-in that's loose and some post-show chatting afterwards. But maybe there's a thing where, so maybe we chat for a half hour and then we do the show. Let's start the show and then we chat afterwards. Something like that. And maybe I only record in high quality the show, and then I can take segments out of that. And any graphics like this, they won't be there anyway, because it'll just be the video. And if I'm using the green screen, I don't. Then I can bring the original file into Final Cut Pro, and I think I can do the keying out. I can make it cleaner and better than this software does with the green screen, I think. So these are some ideas. Pink Floyd Money. Yes, that was the song. Do goody good bullshit. Kind of a classic. If you're our age, you should know that one. You know, Brian May, he's an animal rights activist and publisher and evangelist for stereo photography, and he's an astrophysicist, and on the side he was the guitarist for Queen. He's doing these great Instagram video posts. I love listening to him talk and play guitar. He just did a short one today, and it's the solo from We Will Rock You. And it's very cool to see his fingers doing their thing on the fret. But he also did a long version of Hammer to Fall. And in fact, he did the full song and invited people to jam with him, take his video and then record them playing along to it, singing or playing drums or another guitar. And a lot of people have done it. And a friend of mine told him he should use a hashtag #JamWithBry. I think Jammin' with Bry or Jam with Bry. And he used it. And so a lot of people, if you go on Instagram, that hashtag, it's either Jam with Bry or Jammin' with Bry, and you can see some. But my point is, I don't know what my point was. He did a Beatles cover, and he did an Elvis cover. It was a song, not original. Like Elvis is one person that recorded it. It's "You're So Square, Baby, I Don't Care." Because he talks about music. Why the hell did I bring that up? You should go check it out, because he did something. There was something specific, and it wasn't today's, but great guitar solos. I don't know. I'm a little brain dead. Maybe we'll be wrapping up soon. We're at 50 minutes. About 5 minutes before I even got on. Pink Floyd Money. Music is played the entire time. You weren't too loud. The music never went. Well, maybe I don't understand the question. When you show the graphic next, I'll see if the music is gone. Well, I did that, but now I've corrected that anyway. Oh, you think the music was louder? Is that true? Does the music change when I did that? Like, was there any noticeable difference in any of my volumes? Because there are these volume controls, but I don't think they change from scene to scene. So there's some things about this that are not ideal. Let me see what happens if I go. No, it looks to me like they're about the same level. Are you hearing that? Any changes in that? NetReamer says I meant romantic. It was a callback to last night when you talked about long friendships and short romantic relationships. Oh yeah, a callback to last night. That's pro level callback. Or maybe it's amateur level. It's either very professional or very amateurish, and I'm not sure which. And why can't it be both? It's pro-amateur duality. Most things are both things. That's my new hashtag, like my other one, eat less, poop less. Here, I jotted down a few words on that, which my new take was, let's get it right, huh? I mean, I think I'll get it. Basically, it's that all this focus on the supply of toilet paper, everyone's been freaking out and hoarding it and stockpiling it and shopping obsessively for it. Everyone's looking for toilet paper, and everyone is focused on the supply of toilet paper. But we could also solve this problem by focusing on the demand for toilet paper. How could we lessen the demand for toilet paper? If only you needed less. Eat less, poop less. Ta-da! I found my way to my own hashtag. Eat less, poop less. For the good of America. I should make a little PSA like that. It should be a little funnier, but eat less, poop less. NetReamer, why are my posts always so damn long? Now you're getting deep into a philosophical hole, NetReamer. Music plays with the text on screen. I think the music's louder. I wrote it. Hello, Brian. Questo Piccolo Kaiju. That was, Oh, yeah. It's you. Did you hear me just talking about you? Were your ears burning? Did you hear me talk about Brian and the hashtag? I said my friend gave him a hashtag. Why don't you correct me and tell me, was the hashtag jam with Bri or jamming with Bri? It's probably jam with Bri, because it's like, come on, jam with Bri. Or is it jamming with Bri? We're jamming with Bri. No change. Now I need a new kazoo to jam with Bri. Yeah, you do. Congratulations, we've got 100 messages today with Restream Chat at 53 minutes in. I wonder how fast we've been getting them. That's not bad. How are we doing on here? Is anyone, let me do a quick check to see. Nothing really happening over on, it looks like nobody's really watching over on Facebook, but also, look, it's playing like when I click over, it's where I left off. It's the very beginning of the show. So, let's close it and relaunch it and see what happens. Hang on just a sec. Let's take a look here. Because this is important. Does anyone, are you guys eating or drinking? That's really weird. Someone's watching out there. If you are watching on Facebook or Periscope, I invite you to join us. All the cool kids are over on YouTube, and that's where all the chatting is. If you see me reading chat, that's why we're over there. Okay, so I got some messages from my friend Sarah. It's jam with Bri. No marmalade with Bri. Yeah, Steve, Kelly Frias. Right here and also right here. Is that the only? Hey, remember last night when we were talking about Frankenstein, the novel? And remember how I searched my bookcase for it and I was like, I thought it was on the shelf. So today, you know how they did, just the way the mind works? Same thing. So today, I just was standing here for a second and I wasn't looking for anything. And what's the first book my eyes fell upon? Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. It couldn't have been more obvious. It was right the hell there the whole time. Oh my God, it was right on top of Planet of the Apes by Pierre Boulle, who also wrote, okay, I know you guys are great with Google, but sometimes I think that I should be able to give you a quiz and you have to honestly not use Google. But the author of Planet of the Apes wrote another famous book that was adapted into a movie. And do you know what it is? Because it's very different from Planet of the Apes. I think it's Bridge Over the River Kwai. Check that out. It's, oh, this is a translation too. Pierre Boulle, or Boulle, I don't know how you pronounce his name. But Planet of the Apes, translated from the French, I think. If you've never read this book, it's very different from the movie. All the movies. But even the original movie, it's really different. And I would almost give you some spoilers. I'll tell you something really fascinating about it. Because way before I bought it and read it, I once picked it up in a store. And I'll just tell you this one thing at the beginning, which is it starts with these, in the opening, the characters are Jin, Jinn, and Phyllis. Were spending a wonderful holiday in space as far away as possible from the inhabited stars. In those days, interplanetary voyages were an everyday occurrence and interstellar travel not uncommon. Rockets took tourists to the wondrous sights of Sirius, or financiers to the famous stock exchanges of Arcturus and Aldebaran. But Jin and Phyllis, a wealthy leisured couple, were distinguished in their cosmos for their originality and a few grains of poetry. They wandered over the universe for their pleasure by sail. So they have like a light sail craft, and they see a message in a bottle in space. And they bring it in, and they begin reading the manuscript, and it's the story of Planet of the Apes. And That's all I really want to tell you. I do want to, believe me, I want to tell you more, but you'd have to all assure me that you have no intention of ever reading it and you'd like to hear what else I have to say about it. But otherwise, I'd hate to do it. And yeah, so Steve, if you're still there, Steve, this magazine is actually autographed by the artist Kelly Frias. What I should also have is the cover of News of the World, the Queen album, with We Will Rock You and We're the Champions, because they hired Kelly Frias to take this illustration, and he did an identical version of it, but instead of this weird man in a uniform, it's the members of Queen. It's like one is in his hand, another is falling. Damn it, I don't want that on there. But I once went to a science fiction book show, and then when I got there, I found out that Kelly Frias was there signing. And he's this artist that did the covers of a lot of books and magazines, sci-fi stuff. And so I found a vendor that had a lot of old magazines, and I found this old Astounding Science Fiction from like approximately October of 1953, if I can read that correctly. And I bought a copy of it for like 50 cents, and I went and had him sign it. And that was pretty cool. But then this, more recently, I bought this on eBay. It came from the Kelly Frias estate. They had licensed somebody to sell off all these prints and things, and I always liked it. It was for a story that's called The Gulf Between, and I never read the story, but it's in that magazine. I should read it. I wondered, the illustration, I don't know if you can see it closely enough, but if you look it up, The Gulf Between by Kelly Frias, F-R-E-A-S, he's holding a little man, and the man's chest is bloody, and there's a little drop of blood on his finger, and I don't know what the story's about, but it kind of looks like, what happened? It's very much like Frankenstein, the wretch that we were talking about last night, that it's like he accidentally hurt the little thing. It's like it's not working anymore, and he's got a little blood on his finger, and it's an interesting illustration. Susan's drinking tea. Kimberly's grabbing applause. Applesauce. Autocorrect. Applesauce. That's funny. I have little plastic containers of mandarin oranges. Denise, I must confess, I'm currently playing a DJ streaming club music while I'm listening to you. All right, I guess that's acceptable. Can you really handle both at the same time, even though I have music playing? Isn't it a little weird? I do have music playing, don't I? Yeah. What do you think? NetReamer, you hated that other piece, and it was a very short loop. This is a much longer loop by the same musician. Bridge on the River Kwai. Did you guess that before I said it? Did I say bridge over the River Kwai? Is it on the river or is it over? It's in the river now. Yep, that's also a Queen cover. Steve, you don't have to tell me. If you have anything to tell me about Queen that you think I don't know, I'll be surprised. But I'm not, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I know a little bit, but I don't have everything. And you have 2 art prints autographed by him. Do you really? Are there different ones? Is one of them that one Martians Go Home by Frederick Brown? He did the cover of... No, that book would not be here. That would totally be upstairs. So anyway, Frankenstein, I told you, there's an intro. How long before? There's a preface written in 1817. Oh, wait, is that preface part of it? There's an intro to the 1831 edition. And here the book starts with a letter. Well, somewhere, most of it, I think, is narrated by the creature. But I don't know if this first part is. It's very fascinating. Like I said, Frankenstein, it's like there's a story within it. There's a story within a story within a story. And I don't remember the whole structure anymore, but it's very fascinating where it's like you're going along and then there's a part where they get to somebody's letter or a manuscript or something, and then you're reading that for a long time before you come outside of that frame. You thought this was different music, better. All right. Top Shelf, not the one you have. So what do you have? I've seen a lot of his art, but I don't know that I would know it. But and it's really too bad. On these live streams, you can't post a link, and you can't post a photo. But ultimately, we could probably have it set up where I could have Twitter or something open, and we could use that. But it's just a shame. Oh, Top Shelf. I don't know what you were referring to, Albert. Were you talking about alcohol? Were you talking about my Top Shelf and what's on it? My little Brian May guitar. You know, I can't show you. Remember last night? Somebody mentioned my friend Joey Walden, who is deceased since May of 2013. He's an artist. That's a self-portrait. And when he died, some of my friends put this together. I don't know. If I come closer, it'll go out of focus. That is Joey in his house, which is completely filled with his art, which is just insanity. Like, his house was so neat. That's actually a three-dimensional thing. That's a cutout that's made of wood. So, like, the shadows you see, they are shadows because that's an object that's been photographed. I see that some of it's overexposing. That's a crazy one that was about an ex of his. Oh, and that's Petey, his little dog Petey. He used to paint and draw Petey quite a lot. There you go. Oops, inappropriate for this show. He enjoyed... I don't know, maybe because of a relationship he was in, he started drawing a lot of women with birdhouses for heads. I don't know. And occasionally a sock monkey and a bong, or a sock monkey and a mushroom, a sock monkey and a flag, and a sock monkey and a joint. That's kind of interesting. Bong, joint, mushroom, little American flag. Freedom! Oh my God. Two of these are just paintings, and two of them are three-dimensional wooden objects that are also painted. It's very hard to do it backwards. Of course, I could scan some and just... This is the... We have so much high-tech stuff here, and this is so low-tech. A little bit of science for you. The fly. Bunnies. A bunny armed and cuddly, it says. Armed and cuddly. It's a bunny with a gun. Some of these... Oh my God, this is a place outside of Austin, not just outside Austin, about 70 miles from Austin. That's Enchanted Rock. It was a holy place for the Native Americans that lived there. And now it's a state park for Americans. And, but Enchanted Rock, and that's a really cool, huge. Some of his paintings were small, some were huge, like taller than him. Like, he went through some dark periods too. Hypodermic needle and McDonald's. He started doing some Ronald McDonald's, and he would say, "I'm loathing it," instead of "I'm loving it." Look at this trippy monkey, or ape. That's one that's giant. That one used to be in his room, and it's like 8 feet tall. He drew a lot of but he painted a lot of flowers, and his stuff is really bright. And again, a bunny with a rifle. But he started out as a cartoonist, and he also used to make I think that's going to fall. He also used to make t-shirts, and he had a line of greeting cards, but then he settled into, he didn't want to do that sort of commercial art anymore, and he really wanted to just paint. And so for the last years of his life, he would just draw sketches in his sketchbook, and he would paint a lot. Denise, thanks for sharing that book. Fredericksburg, is that where? Yeah. Brian Eno's ambient series is very cool. Netreamer said, I was listening to someone else's playlist the other day and music came on I thought would be perfect. So I look at the screen, music for airports. It's the piece I said. Steve, the other day I had said that the music that I want, not necessarily for this stream, but for this, the music I've been using, I'm just throwing it on here. Maybe this shouldn't have music at all or some other music, because the vision I have for the music, that little piece suits this series I want to do called Spontaneous Emissions. But I had said the other day, like a week or two ago, that the ideal music, if it wasn't a week or two ago, it feels like a week or two ago. Maybe it was earlier today. But Steve, I had mentioned that the ideal piece, it's the first cut on Music for Airports, ambient music, Brian Eno, Music for Airports. The first track is like 20 or 25 minutes long, and I love it so much. It's really subtle. It's great background music. It's just great music to think again, like a substrate for thinking. And that would be the ideal music. And so Netreamer is saying that he heard something, it's like, that sounds about right, and it was the very piece I was talking about. It's kind of classic. I didn't know it when it came out, but I love it now. And oh my God, I like some of it. If you don't, Brian Eno has done a variety of very different kinds of stuff. In the 80s, there's an album I loved. It's John Eno. It's Brian Eno and John Cale. And it's called Which Way Up? Brian Eno and John Cale. And it's completely different. It's like, it's got its own sound, but it's a little bit of the 80s, but their harmonies and their sound, it's really interesting. So it's a little different from anything else. And then also, you know, he was in Roxy Music, and then he produced a lot of really cool stuff. And he was involved in my favorite David Bowie album, David Bowie Low, L-O-W. By far, I don't have a comprehensive knowledge of Bowie's music. I really liked a couple other albums of his, but the album Low, from the mid 77 or 8, 76, 7, 8, somewhere right around then. I love that album, and it's very different. The first side has like 6 or 8 short, punky songs that are awesome, and then the second side has 4 long, brooding, mostly instrumentals. There are some vocals, but I'm not sure if there's lyrics. He's saying something, it's really hard. It's a little bit like, do you know the Cocteau Twins? I don't know what they're doing. Are they singing lyrics? Is it nonsense? Does anyone know? What the hell? Google it if you must. But the Cocteau Twins do some weird atmospheric stuff, and there's vocals, but it's unclear what they're saying, and I don't know if it's actual words or like nonsense syllables. I don't know what it is. And this David Bowie album, Low, the second side is like that. There are a few words that you pick up here and there, but there's just, it's interesting. So Steve had said that the art he has by Kelly Free is Call Me Joe by Poul Anderson and The Second Kind of Loneliness by George R.R. Martin. Interesting. I don't know either of those. Ornithology meets Picasso. That's right, Kimberly. Bird-brained. Yes, Denise. Thanks for sharing that book. Cool. Fredericksburg, Netreamer, Brian Eno's ambient series. Yeah, very cool. I don't even know all of it, but boy, that first track on that Music for Airports. Tom Hester. Hey, Tom. If you're watching on Facebook still, come over to YouTube. Come to my YouTube channel. It's YouTube. Damn it. youtube.com/science comedian. It helps me out, and everyone, all these comments that I'm reading, they're over on the YouTube chat. Tom Hester is a brilliantly funny comedian and artist and songwriter and former roommate of mine, also a friend. And Tom took the photos in that book with our friend John O'Connell at Johnny Hardwick's place in the Texas Hill Country. Johnny Hardwick's former place in the Texas Hill Country. So that artist, so Joey lived in a modest, he rented a small house in Austin, part of a house actually, and it was filled with his art from years. He lived in the same place for years. He was in Austin and then he moved to Dallas. Anyway, his place was so filled with art. It was completely filled with his art. And then there were paintings on the floor, leaning against walls, stacked many times, and then some stored elsewhere. So our friend Johnny Hardwick, who's a comedian, and he was a writer and a voice on King of the Hill, the show King of the Hill. He's the voice of Dale Gribben. And Johnny had these were all good friends, and Johnny had a house in the Texas Hill Country, and he not only owned some of Joey's paintings that were on the wall, but Joey stored a ton because he was out of space, and Johnny had a large house and a lot of space, and I think he stored about 100 paintings at Johnny's house. And one summer, a few years back, it was before 2013 because that's when Joey passed away. A few years before that, there was a wildfire and Johnny's house burnt down. No one was hurt, but the house completely gone, and 100 paintings of Joey's representing years of work gone. And most of those were probably not photographed well. They weren't photographed professionally. Some of them maybe there are photos of, but some of them lost completely, and none of them were shot like perfectly. And that was tragedy. Oh my God. But I'm gonna tell you a story. So let me tell you something about our friend Joey Walden. He was somewhat magical. I'm going to tell you a story. Joey was, first of all, he lit up any room. I've mentioned him before. He walked into a room, he lit the room up. He was just amazing. He was also crazy looking. He basically, I wish you can't see him. He's too small in these photos. Oh my God, but here's what I was saying before. Look, I'm loathing it. Isn't that a great effect he got going on there? How did he do that with paint? That's just the camera overexposing. All right, here's my story about Joey. He was amazing. He was one of my best friends. And he was so funny. He was just so funny. And everyone loved him, and great smile. And my mom thought he looked like Charles Manson, and he did a little bit. Kind of crazy looking, but really, he lit up a room when he walked in. And he was really thin and muscular. He was a runner. He would run 5 miles a day fast. He had a long stride. He was super healthy. He was like a one beer kind of guy. When we were hanging out in the comedy clubs in Austin, Texas, especially the Velveeta Room in Austin, Texas, there would be a show. Comedians would be drinking and partaking in other substances, and at the end of the night, the club would close and the drinking and the partying would continue. But Joey, he was always like a one beer kind of guy, and then he would go home, and he was a very late night person, and he would draw. Later it would be painting, but back in those early days it was draw, and he'd go work through the night and crash at 4 or 5 and sleep late. And in fact, there were many times when he was in Texas and then I was in California, if my phone rang at 2 in the morning, I knew who it was. It was always him. And I could call him at that time and know he'd be up. So he died of pancreatic cancer. He was really positive, had everything going for him, and positive, healthy, so healthy, except for the pancreatic cancer. And and he died. Okay, but here's a story something that happened before he died. When Johnny Hardwick's house burned down, Joey took a while to recover from that. I mean, it was devastating. That imagine your art and it's not backed up anywhere. It's 100 paintings of his and a lot of his favorite stuff. Giant paintings that he didn't have room for in his apartment, all gone. And that house was burnt down. There was nothing. There was really nothing. And so sometime afterwards, Joey went to the site of the house and he kind of made peace with the whole loss. And he found this little area of of dirt, and he picked up a stick and he sketched Petey. Let's show Petey again. Oh my God, I'll show you something else. On the way to Petey, Ron White, the comedian, is an old friend of ours, and these were Ron White's dogs. I'm almost certain that this was a commission that Ron always had, like a couple of like bulldogs or something, boxers or bulldogs, and those are some damn cute paintings of Ron White's dogs. I don't know why there's two. He only had 2 dogs, but these were at 2 different times. Maybe they were 2 different pairs of dogs. And there's some cool flowers I like in the word love. Okay. So here's another self-portrait of Joey, of the artist. Okay, so I showed you his dog, Petey, is part of this story. So he used to draw and paint Petey all the time. So there in this dirt by Johnny's burnt down house, Joey sketched, in the dirt with a stick, he sketched Petey. And sometime later, and John O'Connell would have to probably remember this in a little better detail, because John O'Connell went to the site like a month later. And in the dirt, I don't know if you can see this because it's overexposed, but in the dirt where he had drawn with the stick, grass had grown. Like, this is a month later. It had rained and everything, and I don't know if you can see that, and it's overexposing, but in the shape of Petey, what you see is like where he sketched it, grass grew in the shape of Petey, the drawing of Petey. It was like, that's just the kind of magical guy Joey was. Like, that was unplanned, and when John got there and he saw it, like, what an amazing experience. But that is Joey to us, and that's on the back of this, because John and Tom Hester put this together, and it was John who went back to the site and discovered this. Isn't that amazing? I hope you like that story. Joey Walden. Let's put him back on the shelf. I should scan them, and some other time I'll show the actual pictures in good quality, and not this low-tech way. So, yeah, that is amazing. Isn't that wild? Dallas Willard, thanks for tuning in, man. And thanks for joining on YouTube. You know, this thing, it's like it keeps turning, and I feel like I'm twisted, like I'm I'm Brian Malow, and this is the news. Oh, yes. Is anyone still watching? We got to wrap this thing up. This one is supposed to be short. It's already 11:30 here. I'm not live? Oh, that was at 10:06. I'm live now. And what was this? Energy or topics? Oh, yeah. Somebody asked, I said I got nothing left after yesterday, and they said nothing left like topics or energy, both. But it turned out to be a lie, because I come alive thanks to you. Honestly, this wouldn't work the same if you weren't here. So, are you out there? What do we got going on YouTube? Let's see. Who's out there? So Dallas, where are you still in San Francisco? It seems like the photos you post are usually San Francisco, but also a lot of the photos you post are older photos. Hey, Dallas, if you're still watching and you're in San Francisco, how about a San Francisco report? San Francisco locked down really early. What's going on in San Francisco? I haven't heard, but what's it like? Oh yeah, we got some people watching. Don't forget to give a little like to the video. I don't know if you have to wait till it's over to do that, but give a little like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and after you subscribe, also you hit that little bell for notifications. Those are things that can help me. I'm not asking you for money, I'm just asking you to help me in these small ways. You watch this, talk to me, yeah, you're still in SF, yeah, you post. Hey, so what's happening? How eerie is it? Is everyone staying inside? Mark is still working, unfortunately. Mark, you work late. It's 11:30 here. It's 9:30. Take a break. You just close the comments to hit like. Oh, you close the comments and then you can hit the like? Okay. Susan says I try to hit like as soon as you begin. Yeah. Dallas, the reason I try to encourage people, I'm sorry for those of you that have heard this so many times, but I want a shot at monetizing my YouTube channel, so there's some other technical reasons, but I'm trying to build up my YouTube watched hours. So if you subscribe, if you watch any of my videos, if I'm doing a 3-hour live stream and you just let it play and don't even watch it, it helps me. Dallas says, I get more, oh, it's 3 hours. Oh, because you're in Arizona, and Arizona doesn't take part in this weird game of changing your clocks forward and backwards. Is that, because it shouldn't be 8:30 in Arizona. It should be 9:30. The rest, in your time zone, isn't it 9:30 for everyone else north of you? Dallas says, I get more info about the national situation, actually. Think our curve has yet to escalate. Well, I think that, I was like hopeful that San Francisco locked down so early that hopefully that's good for San Francisco. San Francisco is also, it's not quite an island, it's a peninsula. They should have shut the bridge. No one from the East Bay, no one from the North Bay. And don't let anyone come up the 1 or the 4, the 5. Yes, in Montana, but we're in PT. What? MT, PT? Yeah. 9:30 in Denver. I don't like this time change shit. I don't understand. I don't see how it really helps. We move, we change, we jump, we leap forward, we spring forward and fall back twice a year, and yet it's still dark early part of the year and light early part of the year, and why can't we just roll with it? And we all know that in the summer we have long days, and in the winter we have short days. Why do we have to try to? Who are we kidding? We're so bad at embracing reality, aren't we? I am. Aren't you? Sometimes I'm good at it. You know what? Here's a little thing about comedy. You know how people always say that. Sometimes it's sort of derogatory. They'll say comedy is a defense mechanism, especially when people make bad jokes that are in poor taste about an important subject, or like 9/11, cheap jokes. Cheap jokes, sometimes people go, you're just using it as a defense mechanism. But the thing that I don't hear people acknowledge enough is that at least just as often comedy is used not in defense, but on the offense. Comedy doesn't just distance you from heavy stuff or important stuff. It doesn't just block you from embracing critical, what's the word I'm looking for? Unfunny stuff. Comedy does do that sometimes. Cheap jokes, it's like, yeah, but just as often, and you think of someone like Bill Hicks or George Carlin, not George Carlin's silly word jokes and stuff, but when he talked about social and political stuff, and Bill Hicks and others, Louis C.K., like many people, Dave Chappelle, whoever, they're talking about, they're using humor not as a defense mechanism, but as an offensive maneuver and a clever one, and it's like getting to the heart of issues. And sometimes getting like embracing full on, not distancing yourself from the horror or the sadness or the tragedy or anything, but instead embracing it full on. And it is comedy, but it's not putting up a wall. It's going deep. It's diving deep. Oh yeah, NetReamer. I should have asked you about the thing. We had a Bay Area person this whole time, even before you, Dallas. Most folks are inside, but I hear parks are still fullest. Just trying to keep my 2-year-old from going too crazy. Poor guy's missing the playground, something crazy. Yeah, I hope so too. Boo, says Susan. Boo, says Susan over on Facebook. Going on, Susan? Are you just over there to tell people to get the hell over here? That's what you're going to say now. NetReamer says it wasn't just SF. All Bay Area counties sheltered in place at the same time. Napa and Sonoma joined a few days later. Well, good. Mark says really don't need it to be light out after 8 p.m. in the summer here. Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter what time we call it. You're going to have the same number of hours of sunlight and darkness. Yeah, maybe you go to work at different times, but, you know, changing what we call it doesn't change the reality. Comedy is really needed at a time like this. I feel attacked, Steve. You're saying, like, at a time like this, when you're watching a live stream with a comedian, some comedy is expected and needed, and why the hell isn't he delivering? I hear you, Steve. I hear you. That is strike one for you, Steve. You're right. I do need to, I need to make some funny videos. So right now I'm kind of focused on making these videos. This is like mostly light and fun, but, I've been interviewing some scientists and trying to get some videos out, that are about the virus, a very fun and not fun, but informational and hopefully useful and interesting. But yeah, I want to make some funny videos. That's just what they would expect from me. When I was, last summer, I was at this Starmus festival, along with Brian May and Steve Vai and Rick Wakeman and all these, and Hans Zimmer. And I was emceeing one day, and I made some really good intros for some Nobel Prize winners and astronauts that I brought on stage. And later in the afternoon, a young female staff member said to me that there was something I said, like I wrote my intros, they weren't funny. I wasn't even being funny because it wasn't appropriate. I brought my energy and enthusiasm, but I said something kind of beautiful and poetic about science to bring on someone on stage. And I don't even know which one she was talking about, and I haven't seen video of this yet, but this girl said that I made her cry, that something I said made her cry in a good way, that it was beautiful about science. And I was like, yes, that's the kind of comedian I am. I have succeeded. I reduced this girl to tears at a science event. And that's the kind of comedian I am. And you should know that by now. Hey, you know, we're an hour and a half into this very short live stream, and we have dropped 0 frames. Are we in sync? Are we in sync? Are we in sync? Are we still in sync? Okay, you know what I mean. I know, Steve, I'm kidding with you. But that is, if there's another strike, then I'll know that this was a strike. And then you'll have 2. NetReamer, I've got a friend who lives on Lincoln, and he says there is still a constant stream of cars. I see fewer around, so I think everybody is back to driving on Lincoln like we all used to 40 years ago. What does that mean? And how did we drive on Lincoln 40 years ago? Yeah, Susan, I checked the sync. But as you know, I'm not the only one. Let me just play this one more time. Steve Vai, virtuoso guitar god, very techie himself. He's been doing live streams on Facebook. And listen to the very first thing he said at the beginning of this live stream.
Hey folks, I'm back. Hoping that sync is a little better. I'm doing this on my laptop.
So I'm not the only one, is all I'm saying. And he wasn't even doing this streaming to multiple platforms, but for whatever reason, and he's not the only one, there's another guy that I really like, and on Facebook, Frank Orrell, O-R-R-A-L, is the singer and primary songwriter for Poi Dog Pondering, a band that I really love. They used to be based in Austin, Texas. Now they're based in Chicago. He's from Hawaii, and they're very eclectic. Their sound has evolved a lot, though. They were very earthy and acoustic and eclectic, and had multiple percussionists and trombone and violin and upright bass, and they were really fun. And then their sound evolved to be a little more like upbeat and danceable, and then they even got a little electronic when they were in Chicago. And I don't know where they are right now, but he's been doing some live streams where he has an acoustic guitar and he talks a little and he plays a little. And I watched one of his streams and it was perfectly in sync, but I checked it out on replay and it was terribly out of sync. So that's another reason why YouTube. There was a lot less traffic in general 40 years ago. Driving on Lincoln used to save you time back then, yeah. And yes, we're in sync. So let us wrap this one up, because it is almost midnight. There's no reason to compete with myself. We'll go longer than that other one someday. But I just want to remind you that this series is brought to you by String Cheese, for people who love cheese but are busy studying string theory. String Cheese. Ask for it by name, if you know its name. We'll have a little string cheese. Are you guys eating anything or drinking anything? Somebody was drinking tea before. And my friend left, but she said that she picks, it's like, that's no way to do it. That is like a monster. Like a wretch out of Frankenstein. So y'all talk a little. You're out there. What are you doing? I mean, if you just have me playing while you do other stuff, that is fine. Albert and Susan, what are you guys doing? And what did you have for dinner tonight? I'm probably very jealous, because you know what I had for dinner tonight? This cheese stick. Let me think. I'll eat more. I've had some peanuts. You know what is it? So, explain this mystery. All I did was bring this banana out of the kitchen into here, and it's aged like a year in the time that I brought it. You know why? It's because I'm buying Chiquita. They don't make them like they used to. Chiquita is not. Susan, we had leftover Indian food for dinner. Was it from... What restaurant was it from? Was it from the place you took me? Himalaya? Is it Himalaya? Or is it Himalaya? What's it called? Because that was pretty awesome. Kimberly's cleaning. But you did have chicken curry. So you had chicken curry. That's awesome. Was it next to another? Kimberly, why do you ask? Yes, from Himalaya. Denise had pizza and Dr. Pepper, jamming to club music from the 80s. Why do you ask if it was next to other fruit? Before I answer, I want to know what's behind your question. Kaiser is the owner, and he's not the chef, or is that the chef? Banana is affected by all the RF in my studio. Probably. Am I affected by all the RF? Look that one up. You'll never put fruit together again. But the thing is, all I have left is one banana and one orange. There was other fruit around, so it was sitting near an orange, but I swear, when I started this stream, I think it has something to do with Facebook. When I started this stream, this banana, it's aged like some science fiction story, like the portrait of Dorian Gray, like that episode of Star Trek, one of them, I don't know, isn't there one with the grumps? They don't age quickly. Like The Incredible Aging Man. I swear that's aged a year in just this time. Are bananas against diversity? Probably. Oh, Susan, he's the chef and the owner. You'll never put fruit together again? Why? You have to explain. Bring it, because otherwise it doesn't make it on. How can I share the information if you don't share it with me? Do you want me to continue my life in ignorance? Is that what you want? It's the ethylene. Well, that explains it. All along, it was the ethylene. Now I feel like I have a complete understanding. You're a chemistry person, aren't you? Am I remembering that correctly? It's the ethylene. Yeah, I know there's something. I know that you're something about what you're referring to, but I don't remember how it works, but something about some fruits outgas and rot the others. So which ones are the culprits? Who's doing the outgassing? But see, that doesn't fit this situation. I'm saying that from the time I took it out of the kitchen, where it sat near one orange, I brought it in here, and as if it knew its time was up, it just gave up. That's what I think happened. It just gave up. It was like, it gives in, just like some animals that are prey. Isn't that a horrible thing to think some animals, we just label them as prey? You don't have a chance. Rabbit, bunny, you're prey. Sorry. And then if a big cat, not a house cat, but a big cat, a predator, gets a hold of it, sometimes at some point they get it and then they're just like, fuck. And they just give up. Some things struggle to the end, but some things just give up and they're like, done. And that's what this banana did. This banana, I swear it was so much. Yeah, I wish I had before and after pics, because it was pretty damn yellow when we left the kitchen together. Susan, I'm now sitting here waiting for the chocolate cake. Susan, what a horrible thing for you to say at this point. If I didn't know that there was some ice cream in my freezer, this would be very upsetting. You're sitting here waiting for the chocolate cake with salted caramel filling to come to room temperature. So how's the quarantine treating you, Susan? Are you roughing it? Is it tough there in Texas? Are you hunkered down with your chocolate cake? Does anyone know the Crowded House song entitled Chocolate Cake? It's sort of a condemnation of cheesy American stuff, really, from a boy from New Zealand. Some fruits outgas and rot the others. Kimberly, keep bananas separated from other fruit because of their effect on the others. But what about themselves? Red light. Netreamer, red light. That's an enigmatic statement. Did you separate it from its bunch? It was the last banana. It was the last of the Mohicans. It was the last banana. So I separated it from the rest of its bunch over the past several days. In fact, did I eat a banana yesterday? Or was that Monday? So yeah, it was gradually becoming separated from its sibling bananas. Its fellow bananas. Susan says, I have my Juber and many chef friends. Your Juber, is that like Uber, but it's your Jewish boyfriend that drives? What is your Juber? Is that your Jewish baby, he can drive your car? Albert says we're eating leftovers like we're some sort of medieval peasants. Yeah. Yeah, medieval peasants with your chocolate cake and salted caramel filling that you're awaiting as it comes from your freezer, as it comes to room temperature, so it can be perfect, just like medieval peasants used to eat. Ding, 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 your Juber is your Jewish boyfriend driver. And you don't even have to tip him, do you? I'm sure there's some expectation of payment, but ding, ding, ding. So, awesome. I mean, you're still out there. I mean, would you remain streaming if I just go in the other room and do other stuff? Will you keep watching and talk about the books on the shelf or something? A short one. Yeah, so, okay. It's true that this was not a short one. Haha. Hey, Brian, I'll jump over to Tom Hester. So you said you would jump over to YouTube. I wonder if you ever did. We never heard from him again. He said he would jump over. Haven't seen anyone from Periscope, but if you're out there and you're watching on Periscope, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing on Periscope? I got nothing beyond that. All right. Even though we did this last night, let me solicit some answers from you. Silver linings. You can't repeat the ones you said yesterday, which is why I shouldn't have said more than one. Under the dark cloud of the virus, surely there must be some silver linings. I'll think of a new one, but there's some of you out there. So what's a silver lining? What's been one positive thing? I said too many last night, but I bet I can think of another one, because I said I've caught up with some old friends on the phone even. I've been working harder on video. I've been putting out videos, and some of them have gotten some views. Well, kind of related to that, I have a silver lining. It's like, because of that, I've had a little extra contact with Brian May. There can be only one. There can be only one. Why are there four? There can be only one. Mark Kaplan, all the free content. Sling, Serious. There's been every comedian and musician and scientist and cartoonist has been doing live streaming. You can't even buy tech gear. In fact, there's a couple things that, like, if I want another one of these red lights, tunable lights, I better buy it fast before somebody else does. Silver lining, according to Susan, no data caps. Is that true? What do you mean? From who? Explain. Brian Morris says lack of traffic. Well, Brian Morris, are you out there experiencing the lack of traffic? It's like, there's been a lack of traffic for me because I haven't even been in my car much. I haven't even worn shoes in a while. I'm wearing slippers. And you know what? I was thinking of making a grocery run, but I might just get them delivered. I don't need that much. I just wanted to get some fresh stuff. Here's a silver line, haven't put many miles on my car. But you know what happened about a week ago? I got in my car to run some errands, and the battery was dead. I had to get a jump from a neighbor, and then I had to go spend too much money on a new battery. That's not a silver lining. Well, I mean, the silver lining is now I have a totally brand new battery in my car. I guess. All the free content. Kimberly, I've got more motivation daily with the things I've needed to do here. Yeah, that's what I've done too. Like, suddenly I'm doing what I needed to do a long time ago with the live streams and shooting and editing videos. So I just need to do even more though. Albert says lots of delicious chocolate cake with caramel buttercream. Oh my God. Would it kill you to send just 1 or 2 of them to North Carolina? Jesus, don't you have enough? I guess it wouldn't make it, especially now that the weather's getting warmer. I should have had you send it in the winter of our discontent. Mark Kaplan says it was waived by Comcast suspend. Oh, I don't even have Comcast. What are data caps? Data caps on what? I have Verizon for my phone and I'm on an unlimited plan. And are there data caps on my internet? I mean, I stream a lot. I wonder if anything's going to happen with all the live streaming I'm doing. Could they cap my upload speed? Would they throttle me? That would be inappropriate and tragic. Brian Morris, yes, you are out there. You had to go to Durham today, and it was weirdly nice. Well, were you just in your car? Oh, by the way, Brian, I don't know if you've caught this, but it's okay if you'd rather stay on Facebook. But it benefits me if you watch over on YouTube. This same stream right now is on YouTube live. This is live. Brian, this is live, in case you didn't know. And here's my YouTube channel, Science Comedian. I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. And so it would really help me if you watch any of my videos, like any of my videos, subscribe to my channel. It would, and all these people that I'm reading comments from, they're almost all commenting, the chat is on YouTube, because I've already lured them over in previous evenings of live streaming. But it's cool if you just are bouncing around Facebook and that's what you want to do. But, oh, Mike Krieger. Hey, Mike Krieger. Albert, Mark Kaplan, Mike Krieger is here. My wife and I get to see more of each other. She's working at home now. Yeah, I've heard that from a couple other friends of mine that are like working at home and they're around their wife and their children. And yeah, so you get to see more of each other. Netreamer, silver lining, nobody's laughing at bidet boy now. David, you have a bidet? How long have you had one? My friends, some of you know Billy Buxbaum and Lori. I think they went to Japan many years ago. And when they came back, maybe the biggest, the biggest takeaway was they had to get a fancy toilet with a bidet. And there you go. You don't have to deal with toilet paper at all. But I always feel like, but it's like wet. Does it dry you, David? Do you still not need anything? Does it put your underwear on for you? Does it pat it dry? Does a little puff of powder of some sort? Baby powder on your tushy? Denise, today's grocery run was actually pleasant. Walmart was stocked. Shoppers kept their distance. People smiled. First nice shopping trip since this began. People smiled. That's because we're still in the early days of this. Because when is it going to get to the point when you pass people, they look at you? They look at you like they wonder if you have gasoline or food or gold. I don't even know if that's a joke. Who knows where this is going? Hopefully we come through this with our humanity intact and human kindness. That quotation from Mr. Rogers about, whenever there's like tragedies, always look for the helpers. And surely, some people are going to be awesome, but not necessarily everyone. And we'll see. The internet will get maxed out. Oh, I know. I mean, there's been more video watching and streaming, so consuming and producing video. It'll be fascinating to see the stats. Is that already available? Netreamer? Albert? Anyone? There must be, already we must have seen an impact on the internet. And I know that in some countries, Netflix, maybe Amazon, but I think I heard Netflix, not in the US yet, but was gonna start streaming at a lower bit rate, slightly lower quality because of that. They could throttle you. You've been a naughty science comedian. That's true. Because I've been blue. I've been cursing, and there's been very little science. Very little science. A little bit about outgassing by bananas. Let's check in on that banana. Maybe in the future I should always have a banana on the set, and we should monitor its progress. And maybe we should take gas samples. That would be fun. Just to introduce a little science into the show. Steve, he offered us $10 each if we come to YouTube. That's right, come to YouTube, Brian. Come on to YouTube. You can find us. I know it's a vast place, but I'm telling you the address. youtube.com/Science Comedian. Susan, Brian has ice cream. Would you go pick up some for me? Is she your, not juber, what's the opposite of a juber? I'm trying to work shiksa into something. Kimberly, mine has a dryer, but it's weak. So you have to sit on it for a long time. So, all you people that got in on bidets early, I wonder if there's a bidet company whose stock is doing really well, along with Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson's. I don't know if theirs are right now, but, and you'd expect Amazon stock in the end. I bet a lot of vendors go out of business and Amazon stock should skyrocket. NetReamer, I got a Toto bidet seat 20 years ago. Mine does not have a dryer. I still use some paper, but less, and I'm cleaner in the end. Ha, cleaner in the end. That's right. You are cleaner in the end. That would be a good, you know what? That would be a good slogan. You'll be cleaner in the end. I have a great slogan. I can't believe, now maybe this has been used, but this would be a great slogan for a mattress company. And I'd be surprised if it's never been used. But it's like, you're trying to sell people a mattress, and it's like your life will be improved, or your sleep will be improved overnight. Hasn't that been used? It sounds so obvious, but it seems like you would have heard, like that's a slogan we should have heard. Mike Krieger, are you still out there? Has that been used? Mike knows the advertising industry. Has that ever been anyone's slogan? Like, not your sleep will improve overnight, something like that? Now, the reason Mike's not responding is because he's on the phone with mattress. I can't think of any of the brands or stores. What are those big mattress stores called? Sometimes the humor, it depends on you having the reference right at the tip of your tongue or the top of your tongue. Autocorrect. Ha, you should have asked when I went into HEB. Oh, Hebe? Oh, no, you're talking to, I thought you were making a Jewish joke, but you were saying that you could have gotten ice cream. The show's not funny. Why should it be sciencey? That's right. Hey, David, I'm going to resurrect the old name, but I don't feel like this is appropriate yet. That's why I'm just calling this a Fireside Chat, because this is bullshit. But when as it evolves into a show, you know what it's going to be called? Serta, yeah. Your sleep limit. So Mike Krieger is on the phone with Serta. He didn't even, as soon as I said it, he's gone, and he's selling it like it's his idea. Firm. Serta, Tempur-Pedic. I like this how it is. Thanks. I don't like Brian to be too funny or too sciencey. I like it just the way it is. No, on the good nights, I can be funny. All right, here's what we'll do. I do feel like there was about 5 minutes at the beginning that I wasn't even on the air. And I hate to count that. So we're at an hour 56. No dropped frames. I believe this is the farthest we've gotten without a dropped frame. No reason, there's nothing that I've done differently. I rebooted a few days ago, but maybe, are the days a blur to you? Ah, crap, I have to take my garbage out. Thanks for reminding me. The days are a blur, but tonight is tomorrow's garbage day. I don't even know if they're coming, but I'm going to take my trash out. Hey, Mark, good night. Thank you, for tuning in. See you next time. And we're going to wrap up anyway. But since we're at 157, let's just cross the 2-hour threshold. Let's just cross 205. And then let's just end this and chill a little bit. But what are you guys, like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, Kimberly, did you say you were, like, washing or cleaning? Or what devices are you watching on? Mobile devices? Because Susan and Albert, so what are you doing? You've dedicated so much time to watching and even interacting with me. But you must be doing other stuff. I know you have a cat, but surely something else is going on, right? Again, fire your graphic designer. I could have done that for peanuts. Susan, I think you discussed it with me. Oh, Kimberly, you're on a Galaxy SA. You know what? Kimberly, I'd like to test something with you later. When these streams are no longer live, sometimes what happens is, it's especially a problem on the iPhone, that on Facebook, on an iPhone, the stream, even though it's in sync now, it can look terribly out of sync. But one of them that was out of sync to me, my neighbor with an Android phone said it was perfect. And sometimes, like, so last night, the desktop version, I checked these. When I'm done, see, I do some things when this is over too. And I go and I check all the streams, and I look to see if they're still in sync when they're on replay. And the YouTube one and the Twitter / Periscope one are usually fine. And last night, the Facebook one, even when I scrolled around, the Facebook versions were fine on my laptop, but my iPhone, terribly out of sync. So I'd be real curious if you look at any of these long live streams later on replay, and not right when it ends, like give it some time. Look at one from yesterday or look at it tomorrow, and just let me know if they look in sync on your phone, on Facebook. I don't think the YouTube one will be problematic, but I wonder if the Facebook video, and if you have a desktop or a laptop, that's what I'm real curious about. If you have it in sync and everything, there's a real problem between the iPhone. Albert is on his iPad, on YouTube, and Reddit. Okay. What's going on Reddit? Anything interesting? You know, you posting that video to Reddit helped it a lot. And here's another thing I did to help with YouTube. So now, I did that one monologue about taking precautions but not panicking. And then I've made 4 videos since then that feature 3 with the food scientist and 1 with the virologist, who I'm gonna start doing more on from her interview. So I have 5 videos and I have a playlist of coronavirus videos. And so what that means is the link that I share is within the playlist, and I totally helped. Like, one of the previous videos didn't get very many views. The one about social distancing is not new. It got like 80 views. But when I did the new one, it did a little bit better. And then this, in the playlist, the social distancing one is right after it. And I think I saw a clear trend where it stopped getting views, but then I had it in the playlist with the other one, and now it's picked up a few more. So because of that playlist, if people like one of the videos, they might see the others in the sidebar and check them out. So that's something I learned to do, and it'll be helpful. And then I'll add more, and they'll all help each other. We're growing and learning together. I'd say we're laughing and learning, but we haven't laughed much, and we sure as hell haven't learned very much. Humans. Here's something Brian May hoped for. In one of his really heartfelt videos, peanuts are dangerous. Little bits of them get stuck in places, and then you inhale, and you get peanut lung. Unless you wash it down with any excess virus into your stomach, where the stomach acid takes care of it. Brian May said, he wants to be optimistic, I guess. I'd love to ask him if he identifies as an optimist. Because it's not obvious if he is or isn't. Because sometimes he's very optimistic, but he also shares heavy stuff and talks about a little bit about depression or feeling down. He doesn't shy away from opening up, but he said a thing about like hopefully that we'll learn that somehow through this we'll learn something. Like his real thing is one of his he really is passionate about animal rights. Some specific ones in the UK. Badgers because there's a problem with bovine TB and a lot of people have blamed badgers, and he says they say the science does not support that badgers aren't the problem, that something else is the problem, and there's other kinds of ways to help cattle ranchers with bovine TB, but killing a lot of badgers, and they'll have a badger cull, and he doesn't like that. And the other one, which is even more indefensible, is fox hunting, that a small number of rich and royal people do, and just terrorize a fox for no reason. And he really hates those. And he goes on television in the UK a lot, and he has a Save Me Foundation or organization that really fights this badger call and really and I think that they just got the badger call. I think they just made a major step against it. And I think they did something against fox hunting too. And I think he's played a role. He's been this animal rights activist. So he doesn't like how we treat the other animals on the planet that he thinks should have equal rights. And so he's said something that I'm not even able to paraphrase about, hoping that we learn through all this experience. Facebook, Albert says Facebook recompresses video. It's dumb. Susan, I have you on iPhone TV and on split screen on my iPad. But am I in your head? Am I in your heart? You have me on your iPad, but am I in your heart? Am I in your head? Am I in your bed? Suddenly, it started to go Dr. Seuss on me. iPhone, TV, and split screen on the iPad. And it's all the YouTube. So just because of you, I should probably get my 4,000 watched hours just because of you, Susan. Steve says some people are suggesting the term physical distance rather than social distance. Yeah, some people have pointed out the irony of in this time of social distancing that some people have been even more social than ever because they've been reaching out to people. So there's been a lot of socializing. We are physically distant, but you don't really have to be socially distant. Look at this. I don't feel, this goes, I guess, a long way. It's weird because I only get words from you. I'm talking to a camera. I'm in a room by myself, but I definitely feel less isolated when I'm doing this. Because I know that we are hanging out together. You might be doing other stuff. You can see everything that I'm doing from here up. You can see everything I'm doing. What? Whoa, this show, where did anyone, whoa, we can edit that in post. It's live, sir. All right. You can see everything I'm doing. I can't see everything you're doing, but I definitely do feel, Steve, you're right. I mean, I don't feel as socially distant when I'm talking to you guys, and we're interacting. It's just weird, but we've become really accustomed to communicating via text. So it's not that weird because for years now we've become so accustomed to it. How so many of us rarely even use it's 12:14 a.m. It was night and now it's morning. What the hell? That's what I have on my phone. The moon, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, the moon and the moon. Do we even use that as a phone anymore? It's so silly to call it a phone. It's a computer, and it also sometimes can be used as a phone if you choose. Kimberly, I shared the cooking and freezing vid. Let me know what happens. Thank you. What do you mean? Shared it? Where? How? Kimberly says, careful, LOL. Albert says, badgers are always the problem. Jammed. Hello, Jammed. Is it 5G? Which part are you responding to? Is it 5 grams? What are you asking? Is it 5G? Jamad. I said jammed. I misread that. Is it Jamad? Thanks for tuning in, dude. How do I know you're a dude? I don't know. You seem like one, though. As I've gotten to know you, you seem like a dude. Tonight you're on my phone, Denise said. Kimberly, I'm in a room by myself, too. Yes. I think we're alone now. And yet, we're not. Albert is really a bot, but I've always known that, Albert. You aspire to be a bot. NetReamer, I no longer believe there ever was a sync issue. I think you're talking about it just to get people to go back later and rack up more hours for you streaming these again later. Oh no, man, I can show you. You know what? Here's the frustrating thing. At least one, now I don't always check the locally recorded version that doesn't even go out on the internet. But one time, at least 1 or 2 times, even that was out of sync. So that's something to do with the software. But that's only happened a couple times. I was very happy with yesterday. Longest stream ever. And all of them looked really good, except for on the iPhone. But on my laptop, the YouTube one was great. I scrolled through it more than once and the selected places, and it was great. And it looked great on Periscope, and it looked great on YouTube. Very funny, NetReamer. Denise says, let's fix that and conference us on so we can see each other. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to work on getting that other software package, and let's see what abilities it has. So here's what I'm going to do. Sometime in the next few days, I'm going to just connect it so that it streams to where I need it to stream to go out to all these locations. So I'm going to configure it it's the way I started this one. Before I even figure out how to use it entirely, I'll just figure out how to go live with it. I'll configure it so that it goes where I want it to go. I'll try to understand a little of it, and I'll start using it. And then I'll be forced to start to learn how to use it. And I'm going to try to do that maybe over the weekend. Tomorrow's not a good day for me to experiment with it. I need to do some other stuff. Kimberly, you know you can do a live with others at their houses on YouTube. I think they use Zoom or in the Wayback Hangouts. Can you use Zoom and then go to YouTube? Like I'm going to do probably a live event with this neutrino lab in South Dakota. And they already use Zoom, so they wondered if we could use Zoom. So I've used Zoom, but I want it to be able to, I want to have the abilities I have. I want to make it look like a nice show. By July, I want to have it looking pretty slick. So what I do with them, hopefully I'm going to be able to do some live interviews. The theme is going to be astrophysics and neutrinos and dark matter. And I'll interview a few scientists. But in the meantime, we're going to do some of that way before then, because we're going to make sure it all works. Kimberly shared just now on Facebook. Thank you. They do it on BookTube all the time. So what, they use Zoom? The only thing is Zoom I was able to use my green screen with, but I don't think you can see these software, these 2 video mixing packages. They're not video conferencing. These are like video production, video mixing, and I could get fancy with this because, since I can create scenes, like I can create a scene like this. I think the music just changed or something, didn't it? Did something just change? Or is it just the same? But I could see how I could make myself smaller or something. I could bring a guest in. I could get creative with how it looks. Like Zoom, I think you're limited. It's like if they'll be in a box or something. Ideally, I could stick myself off to one side and I could put someone over here. I could put them in a circle or a rectangle, I could do, like, the capabilities here, because I could use like a graphic that has transparency. So I could create anything and overlay it. And like, there's possibilities here. I'm not using this software to its potential at all, but I don't think Zoom will let me do all those things. Music stayed the same. Steve says some YouTube broadcasters use StreamYard for live streams. I believe StreamYard uses the same, it's related to this. I'm using OBS right now because it's free. And I think StreamYard, there's some sort of connection between StreamYard and OBS. One of the reasons I've dragged my feet, I've said this before, is that I'm using free software right now. And the other one I want to try out, there's a 14-day free trial. So when I start using it, it's gonna 14 days with a watermark. But as soon as I figure out that I'm gonna buy it, I'll buy it and the watermark will go away. But don't you think, like, what do you, they're 14 days free trial. And in the free trial, you can stream and do all these things, but there's gonna be a watermark. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think they could have given you 14 days without a watermark. Maybe you'd make use of it and then not buy the software. But for me, if I like the software, I'm buying it. And did you really have to have the watermark on for those 14 days? I don't know. But I guess it's advertising for them because I'm going to pull it out as soon as I can. Albert, step 1, cut a hole in the box. I don't know the context for that one, Albert. It's free. It's better than YouTube's BookTuber software. Wow. Yeah, OBS, and you can do a lot of things. And like I said, like, let's say I'm not gonna really do this, but all right, I have an interview with Alan Stern, the head of the New Horizons space mission, and many previous ones, but this was his favorite. Let's go to a clip from my interview with Alan Stern. So tell me about it. So Pluto, there's so much right there to unpack. Tell me what your hopes were for the mission. Like, what would have made it a success for you? All right. That was me asking Alan Stern a question. Anyway, the point is that I have some potential here. And this device, this is actually from a different company called Stream Deck. And unfortunately, this thing with OBS, the number of things that you can do with this, that you can program this to do are many. And from what I've read so far about the other software that I'm gonna have to pay for, there's a small number of like 9 or 10 or 12 things you can do with this that you can program. But this, there are so many things you can do. You can cue another scene. And you know what's really neat? You can't see this, but when I program it, let's say I have a new clip, I assign it to a button, and then, like, these buttons, you create them so they actually have words on them. That says Alan Stern Pluto. I put that in there, and I put the blue background, but you can make them color-coded, make them look different. You can put what they are, so I know that that's Space Oddity that I've played you, and then I have 2 Alan Stern clips, but I played them before, and then I have the cooking and freezing video that I made, and a little bit of how about a little Steve Vai? I always have to at least go to the part where he does that with his guitar because it's so cool. So yeah, this is free, and I can make this slicker, like pull up a guest, pull up lower thirds, graphics, and so it'll evolve. Get off my back, man. All right, so you know what? You guys have been fantastic. NetReamer, let's wrap up. We're at 2 hours and 17. Oh my God. Now we have 76 dropped frames. I spoke too soon. At some point, like an hour and a half in, we had no dropped frames. Am I still in sync? Kimberly. Well, you know what? I don't think they can flag me for that because that is a lie. That's not a recording that is in any database. That's a live version of a song, and I'm the only person who even has that recording. So I don't think that can get flagged. You know what I mean? Like, it's not recognizable. It's not in any database. Because, you know, it doesn't just hear the notes or anything. It's something else. Do you know how that does? Do any of you techie nerd friends of mine know how Shazam and all those things? What is it that they hear? Because it's not just like the chord structure. It's something about the recording that I forget. But I don't think that can get flagged that easily. And if you're talking about my background music, that's pod-safe music. That music I can use. And but yeah, that's why I would love to play other music. I think it would be fun to have like a listening party. Like even if we like played something like the Queen 2 album or something, and we all listen, or an Elton John album that you probably don't know but should really appreciate. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. In all likelihood, you know one song from it. Someone Saved My Life Tonight. Great song, not the best song on the album. Great song, but that is an amazing album. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, Elton John. 1975, maybe? Same year as A Night at the Opera. Good year for music. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, so music. Do any of you know how they do that? But I would love to play music, but I'm pretty sure it may not get flagged on the live video, but they would yank it later, and they might take the soundtrack off the whole show, and then you'd have this whole 4-hour stream with no sound. So that's too bad. But you know what's so weird? I don't understand. It's so inconsistent. Do you know, you see so much protected music in videos all the time, don't you? Have you seen people do those things where it's that genre of YouTube video that is a reaction video where people are listening, they're video bloggers, and they listen to a song they've never heard before or an album they've never heard before, and they play it. I've heard them play Queen and Rush and all sorts of stuff, and they're playing like something they've never heard. Sometimes their fans and viewers have sent requests in, and they'll listen to the whole thing, and you listen along, and that stuff doesn't get pulled. But you know what I did on Mother's Day last year, or maybe the year before? I had a great idea. I took all the songs I could find that had the word mother or mama. Mama just killed a man. Mother, do you think they'll drop the bomb? Mother looked down and spit on the ground every time a name gets mentioned. And I kept coming up with them. And I edited together. I was so proud of it because the transitions are funny and weird, and it's video. Some of it's just audio, but some of it's the video, and I made things meld into each other, and I worked really hard on it, and I posted it to Facebook, and I posted it to YouTube, and they were immediately eliminated. Immediately, they were like protected. And I mean, I had about 50 songs. So all it takes is one, and they strip the whole soundtrack. They don't just bleep out that 30 seconds. So I made this mammoth Mother's Day thing, and it was so good, and YouTube took it down, and Facebook took it down. They didn't take it down, but they made them, they couldn't be public anymore. And maybe it's just because a couple of the wrong songs were in there. I saw some information about some of the problematic songs. Paul Simon, one of the songs that was problematic was a Paul Simon song, maybe Mother and Child Reunion or something. And, but I see people using protected music all the time on YouTube. But it's every time I try to do something like that, busted. So much for 205. Don't they flag your video from your NetReamer? This is Brian after all. Yep, still in sync. For me, sound is now what, third? Oh, NetReamer says the sound is now about a third of a second ahead. Okay. Kimberly, the companies give you a strike or something is the terms I hear YouTubers say. Then they have to settle it somehow and YouTube doesn't get involved. They say they don't get access to their own video or anything through the process. Denise, I'm down for a listening party, but I don't know what it would mean. It might mean that we could do it live, and then it probably won't be good later, but I think it would be fun. Like if we all listened at the same time or something, or maybe you could just hear it if I had it playing here. Maybe. But I'm afraid of getting on bad terms. But maybe we could just do it live, and that video, as soon as the live is done, I could just make it private. And that way they don't even have to deal with it. They just demonetize you. They don't pull the music. Well, no, I mean, like I said, my video it wasn't monetized. It wasn't even trying to be monetized. I don't have monetization on my channel. I don't even qualify for it yet. So it wasn't monetized, but it was like, it didn't even take long. I had posted it and like, just like that, it was like, nope. And the video was not able to be public, or they took the soundtrack off entirely because of a few songs. Mile Higher Podcast on YouTube mentions it a lot, but I don't know. John Lorden too. Zoom? Well, the thing about Zoom is, but where does it go after that? Like, we can all watch on Zoom, and I can record it locally, but then it's not like out there residing unless you upload it to YouTube. That's what I was curious about. Does Zoom interface with any of those? Can you use Zoom and have that signal go out to YouTube or Facebook? Albert says, I have one with a music clip. I got that flagged. Music is still there. Well, I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't think Queen cares, because I've seen a million people doing Queen, like lip syncing to Queen songs. I mean, tons. So I don't think they do that. But there's a music, I don't know his name, but there's a guy that is a producer, and he talks about music all the time, about what makes songs great. And he does these lists like 10 greatest songs that begin with a vocal. Like the vocal is the first thing, or 10 greatest songs that start with a guitar riff, or 10 greatest, like he makes a lot of lists, but he also does like these things of like what makes a song great, and he analyzes it in detail for like 10 minutes and really focuses on every part of the composition and the recording. And I've heard him say, he'll play songs, and he'll sometimes have musicians and they'll play them live. And sometimes you hear the actual song, and he sometimes says, I can't play this next one or even say the band's name because they're notorious. And like, it was the Eagles, for instance. He said, I can't even say their name because it calls attention to it, and that I don't know what would happen. So I don't know. I think there's some weird stuff, but Albert, they will take music out sometimes, and they did it to me. That video, I couldn't even share it on Facebook or YouTube, and I was so proud of it. It's really funny. And I could try putting it on Vimeo and sending the link around. I don't know. But I worked so hard on it, and then I wasn't able to share it with anyone. That was very frustrating. How many hours are you at now, total? What's considered fair play, though, Kimberly? Lip syncing to something? I mean, it's not fair use. It wouldn't be fair use if we listened to an entire album. If you play a little snippet, the way that guy does it should totally be fair use, because he plays just a little bit and he's talking about it and analyzing it. So for critical purposes, educational and critical purposes, things can qualify for fair use. And for parody, if it's a parody, it can qualify for fair use. And I could both, but the thing is, the process is, they can get it taken down And then you could go try to fight it in court that it's fair use, but they can get a pull down, and like YouTube and Facebook and all, they just comply because they don't want to mess around with it. So if a record company says, so you might notice there's a lot of takedowns that happen that are not legit, that are totally, it's like, hey, I've heard of people getting stuff taken down that it wasn't even something that they didn't have the rights to play. Like the company that was doing it did not have the rights to do it, but it makes it difficult for the little person to get it fixed. Kimberly, how many hours am I at total? Do you mean tonight, or do you mean my watched hours that I'm trying to build up? Because we're going to wrap up. Let's say goodnight in just a minute as I answer your last question. We're at 2 hours and 28 minutes. So we've done enough. This is long enough. If I go too much longer, it'll be my second longest. So let's wrap it up. And as far as I need 4,000, if this is what you mean, in the last year, in the last 365 days, you need 4,000 watched hours. And my curve is great because I was at like 800 or something, 700 or 800, but we're at 1.4K. And I feel like it should be 1.5 any minute now. So because of these watched hours and because a couple videos got a few thousand views, I hate when it's over, Kimberly says. Yeah, so let's build it up more, but let's, I'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday night. Does anyone have any plans? Who's going out tomorrow night? Any big plans? Are you going to see a movie show? You got a date with your girl? That was a long, short one. Yeah, Steve, I'm bad at this. But Steve, like on Monday, I did my longest stream. It was 2 hours, 33 minutes. We're at 2:29 right now. That was my longest stream until yesterday when I did 3.5 hours. I don't want to break that one for now. I think that's a record that can stand for a while, like Babe Ruth's home runs. Let's give it let's let it ride for a while before Hank Aaron comes along and destroys it. All right, Kimberly, it's a date. It was a long, short one, and I'm kicking myself for it. Oh, I wanted to do this thing. I needed to do it earlier. I was talking to you and I forgot. You couldn't hear me when that was on, right? I wanted to strip those words out. So, because we could fade to that. But I just have to create another one. So around 800, that was fast. Oh yeah, because what happened is I've got 2 or 3 short videos that got a bunch of views. And I got these long live streams that if you're watching, and my friend Susan is watching on more than one device on YouTube. But hey, since you're the same user, I guess we'll never even know if that even qualifies as more watched hours. But Susan, I like that you do it. But now that I think about it, who knows? Who knows the mysteries of YouTube? I'm holding this in my hand like it's that plunger thing that you do the dynamite with. And now my thumb is hovering on there. Denise, I'll be here too. All right, we're all gonna be here. Susan and I are going to a comedy show here. You're joking, right? There's no comedy show. There's no show, right? It's the comedy show that's being broadcast, right? I'll try to be funny tomorrow night. Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna try to be funny. And if I get a chance during the day, maybe I'll prepare some content, something to talk about. We'll do something different tomorrow. But I want you to have some silver linings, and why don't you people bring some content? If you have questions, you can bring some statements and some ideas, and I'm okay with you just giving me questions as well. A virtual comedy show, that's right here on this channel. Same bat time, same bat channel. We don't know. We got to settle into a time, and I don't know, with different time zones and everything, and Arizona all cockeyed, I don't know the best time to do this. This is a crazy time for me because it's 12:40, and it's like, I don't want to go to bed yet, and I'm staying up too late. But I know on the West Coast, it's only 12, 11, 10, 9, 40. I don't know the best time to do this. When I was in the Bay Area, I think my show was at 6 o'clock p.m. And so 6, 7, 8, 9, that was pretty good. But as soon as I started at 9 last night, my friend on the West Coast was like, I just sat down to dinner at 6 o'clock. Susan has multiple accounts. Clever girl. Let's hit that goal during Corona Kimberly says, let's hit that goal during Corona apocalypse. Well, we should be able to. Because, I think we should be able to hit it in the next year or two. You're right. I think we'll be able to achieve that within the Corona apocalypse. Hopefully it doesn't go on that long, but yes. But I've looked at what we're looking at. It all depends on some building viewership, getting more views. If you're bored, you can look at some of my old videos, but it really, I think it means I need to make some short videos that go viral, and they have to do more. If one video went truly viral, I would have it. If one video got if one shortish, like a minute or 2 minute long video, or 3 or 4 minute video, got 100,000 views, I think I would be there. Hold on. Let's say let's call it a 2 minute video. If a 2 minute video got 100,000, just 100,000 views, that would be 200,000 minutes. That would be 3,333 right there. So that would put me over. One 2 minute video that got 100,000 views would put us over the top. And it could be even less than that. It could be a longer video that gets fewer views. You understand the math. We should place bets. I'll bet we hit in 1.5 months. It's tough. I was looking at the rate. I have analytics. You guys are keeping me here. Let's take a quick look. Oh, can I even do this? I don't usually mess with it. Oh my God, see, maybe a bad idea. I've now dropped 135 frames. Am I even close to being in sync? Take a look. We've dropped 135 frames, damn it. But it's weird, where this signal goes to this company Restream and they send it out to the different platforms, Restream tells me every time there have been no dropped frames on their end. The dropped frames are right here, and I don't know what they mean exactly, but some analytics somewhere on here, go to my channel. Let's just a quick check. There was some information I saw. How about a short one tonight? Ridiculous. Who am I kidding? My views are way up, but it's 12,000 views. Oh, that's not the right number. Oh, there's the watch time. In the last 28 days, I don't know why it's 28 days on here, but in the last 28 days, I have 570 watched hours. And that is 548.4 more than usual. So, I mean, all my views, subscriptions, watched hours, everything is way up. So I have over 12,000 views this month, which is I have 12.7K views. That's 11.7K more than usual. Because I wasn't doing enough with my YouTube channel. So just the fact that I'm posting should help me with the algorithms and help build something. But 570 watched hours in the last month. So all I have to do is, so that means we need a few months. Unless, I don't even believe this. It says I have 156 new subscribers in the last 28 days. That sounds like a lot. Oh, it changed. Now my little thing says I do have 1.5K watched hours, not 1.4. It's up to 1.5K. We're almost there. We're halfway to 3,000, and then we have to get to 4,000. But 570 per month means we need 1, 2, 3, 4. We at least like 4 months. So the only thing is, if we're lucky, and if I'm lucky, I can up the game and have one video go a little more viral. I've got 2 videos that have this is fantastic for me, but for real video bloggers, these numbers aren't that great. The most, is it safe to order food delivery and takeout, is just about at 6,000 views. The coronavirus precautions one has 3,800 views. Those are the 2 big ones right now. But those are big numbers for me. But God, if one video just got 1 million views or 10,000 or 100,000. All right. David says the sound is even more ahead, but Darlene says it's in sync. How many people think it's in sync? Brian, the clapping doesn't work as a good test. You need a chalkboard and to be pointing to 1, 2, 3 so we can see the issue when you clap fast. But David, the whole thing we use, that's how in production, in film and TV production, the clapper is all about the sync, because there's a sound and a moment when my hands touch. It's all about doing something very precise. Do you hear the sound at the same time that I do that? Or are you hearing it before? That's exactly how you do the sync. But if you want me to go 3, 2, 1, 0, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that's no good, because it's like you don't even know when the precision is. This. Okay, let's wrap this up. Kimberly, who? Moi looks guilty, keeping you on with questions? No. Purposely stereotyping in the interest of humor. I don't want to hear it. Netreamer? What was my purposeful stereotyping? I don't know. I'm in sync. Now it's worse. Where did the drop frames go? On the side of milk cartons? We can only hope, Steve. We can only hope. Kimberly, everyone share things everywhere else. Everywhere. Yeah, exactly. So, you know what Albert did? I think the single act that helped me the most with that video that has the most views is he posted it to Reddit. And in fact, he first tried to post a previous video to Reddit in a coronavirus-related subreddit, and they said it was not, what was the term they used? Like they said, like it was bad. It was an interview with a virologist who is not only a virologist, professor of virology, and she's head of the Department of Molecular Biological Science, or Biological Molecular Science, one of those, at the vet school, and it was about whether dogs can carry the virus, and it's like she's the head of this Molecular Biological Sciences department at NC State's College of Veterinary Medicine. So apparently that's not good enough to provide legit information on Reddit. That was pretty ridiculous, but he didn't give up. And he posted the next one into a different subreddit, and it did really well there. And Albert, I actually have analytics that told me that tons of the views, a very big proportion came from Reddit. I have that in my analytics. But yeah, you know what? Like, you know, wait till there's a really good video, or, you know, if you want to tell some friends, you know what? If each of you could just get one other person to watch these live streams, do you know of anyone? I mean, you people keep tuning in. Don't you think do you know anyone that would like enjoy this and would enjoy chatting with you in the comments? We could build this up a little. I'd like to build these up, but those other videos, if I make a good one, you know, some are going to be better than others, and some are going to be have more potential. Like, is takeout and delivery safe? That was a great question on a lot of people's minds. And I thought, do dogs carry the virus? That one didn't do so well, and the social distance. So some of them, you know, I'm going to put out what I think are good, interesting, and useful videos. Some are going to have more potential than others. But yeah, share them, or Or like, I would also love to get more viewers here. And so do you know anyone that you think might enjoy this? Try to lure them in. Totally in sync. So it's interesting. Some people have it totally in sync, or their standards are not the same. It's basically in sync. I've seen a lot of badly dubbed Japanese movies. To me, that was in sync. Dropped frames to go to see Jesus. Well, don't go to church to see Jesus right now. Just stay at home and watch and meet with him virtually. The sync is fine, Albert says. Does someone have Bluetooth headphones? Someone meaning David. Perfect. Robert C., what are you trying to do? What for? Robert C.